Welcome back, guys. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today we're going to be covering the topic of reloading and is it worth getting into reloading in 2026. Now, there's going to be a couple of different directions we go here, and I'll show you a couple of different cartridges that sort of highlight my point. But just to caveat this, first of all, if you are a hunter and you're the sort of person that goes out maybe a couple of times a year, you maybe go to the range once or twice a year and you'd be lucky to go through 3 or 4 boxes of ammunition of a common caliber like a 308 or a 270, 30-06, 243. It's very unlikely, even if you're purchasing quite high-end ammunition and quite expensive ammunition, that reloading is actually going to be worth it to you. So obviously there's an initial setup cost when it comes to reloading. You need to buy a press, you need to buy a good set of scales, you need to buy some accoutrement. But it's also about time, right? So what is your time worth to you? Now, a lot of people enjoy it as a secondary hobby, sort of affiliated to shooting. That's what I do. So I don't include the cost of my time in that. But, you know, some people don't necessarily enjoy it that much and they're doing it for a different reason. So they have to factor that in. You've also got the availability of reloading components. Although we've got pretty good availability in Australia at the moment, there are and have been times where it's very hard to get the components that you're after and you may need to sort of alter what you're looking at. So other than that though, I would say reloading is actually worth getting into for majority of people in use cases. Number one, if you're shooting a large volume of rounds, it can be worthwhile. Now, when we're talking about large volume, we are talking you have to be shooting sort of hundreds of rounds in order to make it worthwhile, in my experience, if we're talking range ammo. And bulk plinking is what I'm sort of talking about here. Obviously, if you're shooting, you know, competition or long distance, that's where, you know, you'll definitely look at getting into hand loading because you can really tailor a load that shoots well in your gun. So that's where cost is less of a factor. But to give you an idea of shooting something like 308, so I've got a 308 here that I've loaded up. Now, with 308, I can go, or have previously, and obviously these things change in price, you can buy, say, a 500 pack of 125 grain Sierra Match Kings, which make good, you know, plinking ammo or good target ammo just to go and practice. And I believe I was paying around $150 to $175 per 500 of those projectiles. Now, obviously you need to take into account brass at that point. I already had lots of brass and found, you know, there's plenty of range brass lying around. So that's not a cost that was really factored in for me. Other than that, you then need to talk about buying primers, which we have had trouble sourcing previously. But they seem to be plentiful now, so you can get primers. And then after that, really it's just your time that's going into it. So you can load, you know, sort of practice 308 for cheaper than what you can buy the cheapest sort of PPU or, you know, seller and bellet generally. But again, it's going to be range ammo. It's not going to be sort of the highest end. It's not necessarily going to be the best projectiles either. Like Sierra Match Kings are great bullets, but the 125 grainers are not designed to do everything, right? So I wouldn't be using those to go hunting, for example. Now, on the flip side of that, what it does do, so I'll just show you this one for an example. So this 308 is loaded with a 130 grain Barnes TTSX bullet and in some Browning brass, which I just had, which is why it's nickel plate. Now, when we're looking at something, the equivalent load of this, and I've obviously tailored this to shoot well in my gun, which is something that you can do when you're reloading. So figuring out what powder charge and what bullet works really well in your gun will help you achieve better accuracy. And that's a lot of trial and error and testing. But with something like this, what it's actually allowing you to do, so if I was to go and buy the equivalent sort of loading from, say, Barnes in their Vortex ammo, or if I was to go and buy something, you know, equivalent with a copper monolithic bullet of the same sort of quality as a Barnes TTSX, you're looking at getting quite expensive ammo. We're talking, you know, 100 to, you know, look, you can get it cheaper, obviously. You might find it on special, might be like $80 a box, or you might be going all the way up to, in the 100, 120 mark, which is kind of crazy for something like 308. I'd say you're probably going to find more of it around $80. But, I have seen, sort of crazy things happen. Now, with this, obviously, you've got powder and primer. Cases I'm sort of writing off. The bullets themselves, depending on where you find them and what you buy them for, you're probably looking at just under $2 each. So I'm reloading this, say, for the equivalent of, say, $40 a box or $40-ish a box, minus my time. So that's half the price, right? And depending on how much of this stuff I'm shooting, that can start to add up quite quickly. Now, the next thing, I'll actually just cover this as well. So where this actually really plays into effect, so the cost of reloading, is not so much with your common cartridges. It's when you start to get into the harder to find or niche stuff. So, for example, I have here a 340 Weatherby Magnum. So again, loaded with a Barnes bullet. This one is a Barnes TAC-TX. I also have one here with a Spear, I believe, I can't remember what Spear bullet that is. It's one of the bonded Spear bullets. So in 340 Weatherby Magnum, I've got two loadings. These Spear bullets are not very expensive. They're one of the bonded cores. It's not a hot core, but it'll be something similar. And with these, I can get these projectiles for a little over $1 each. And then obviously the brass is coming from Bertram, which is about $2 a piece. So at that point, we've got, say, let's say $3.50. And then we add in some powder and primer. Let's just say this cost me $3.50 to make. Like, it sounds expensive, right? And, same with this, is be even a bit more expensive because we've got a more expensive bullet, let's say $4 a shot. At the highest, if I'm buying premium projectiles and I'm taking into account the price of the case up front, right? And keep in mind, cases are reloadable multiple times, so you would actually divide that over how many loads you're actually getting. And in my mind, it's sort of a one-time purchase. I buy it and then I sort of throw it out. Now, with something like this, so say up front I'm paying, if I'm buying the brass brand new, say $3.50 to $4 a round. Subsequent reloads, I'm then getting for $2.50, $3, whatever, right? Now, if I was to go and buy a box of 340 Weatherby Magnum, if I could find it, so availability is a big thing, I'd be looking in excess of $150 a box. So you can see that this is where the prices start to drastically jump, right? So we're talking about, a savings of, if we've got, 20 in a box times, say $3 if I'm shooting something like the Spears. Okay, so I paid what? $60 for a box versus $150 to $180 a box. Now, if I decide I like this gun and I want to shoot it and I want to practice with it, that's going to add up really, really fast. Whereas if I go and shoot something that I've reloaded, that now brings that gun back to life for me. I can now go and invest my time in shooting that. And there's a lot of cartridges as well that you just won't have a lot of availability in the loading either. So I think if I went to order some 340 Weatherby Magnum, I have an option of maybe 2 different loads. I've made 2 different loads here, right? I can go and make whatever I want, whatever combination of bullet with whatever combination of powder I like. And caveat with all of this is obviously refer to reloading manuals, make sure that you do it safe. But that's where the cost savings really come in. Now, obviously you need to take into account cost of dyes and all those kinds of things as well. So, but I like to chalk that up a little bit more to, this is another hobby I'm getting into. This is the equipment that I need. Dyes are generally under, you can get them for under $200. You can get them for as little as $50, or secondhand, you can even get something else. Now, where reloading is kind of essential and sort of comes into a play for a lot of us is going to be in the cartridge. You can't actually buy commercially available ammunition for anymore. So here I have a 5.77 450 Martini Henry cartridge. Now, outside of some very niche manufacturers like someone like maybe Unique Munitions in Australia, and his ammunition is not available in every store, you have no chance of going and buying brand new ammunition for this. It just doesn't exist, right? And there's a lot of cartridges out there where you just will not find brand new manufactured ammunition for them. So when you get to something like this, reloading is your only option if you actually want to go and fire this gun. And, you know, you can basically chuck out cost. If you can't shoot a gun, unless it's some sort of collectible or wall hanger, the gun's useless, right? So at that point, it stops being a tool and just becomes a piece of art. And that's fine, but for me, I like to have something that I can shoot. So if I'm sort of stuck there, and I'll just put a 308 beside it so you can see it's quite chunky as well. So when it comes down to it, I like a lot of old military guns that you can't necessarily get ammunition readily available for, or if you can, it's in very specific loadings, right? So what I would say is reloading is essential for people that like to shoot oddball calibers. Unless you've got a friend that reloads for you, or you've got a specific manufacturer that will make, you know, custom loads for you. A lot of people are going to be forced into reloading if they, you know, grandpa's old gun, like a common one in Australia is obviously 303.25, which was, you know, they were ubiquitous in Australia. They were everywhere. You can't buy factory ammo for those anymore outside of, say, someone like Unique Munitions. So what do? Do you retire that gun, or do you go buy a set of reloading dies, and do you start making some ammunition yourself? Because those are capable guns. Like, that's the thing. A lot of these older rifles, or rifles and calibers that are not super common, they're still great guns that can do the job. You know, for example, my father's got an 8x68S. So where do you buy ammunition for that? You don't, right? So he has to reload for that. And that's a beautiful modern gun. That's not an issue, but we don't have ammunition for that. That's a European maker with European ammunition that we just don't import. So when it comes down to it, is reloading worth it in 2026? I would say yes, it is. If you're shooting any sort of volume, it also lets you learn quite a lot about, and obviously you have to apply yourself a little bit, but it does let you learn a lot more about the mechanics behind what you're doing. You know, whether that's how velocity is affecting, you know, works in your specific rifle, what pressures do, and, you know, obviously do this safely, right, guys? So make sure you're referencing like well-established data that's preferably in a reloading manual or on a reloader's, like a powder manufacturer's website, because you don't want to blow yourself up. That's one of the big downsides of this sort of stuff, right? Is if you're not paying attention, you are increasing the risk of participating in firearms sports. Okay, so if I was, you know, to load something up with maybe the wrong gunpowder, that can cause some major issues with me. So for example, this is a black powder cartridge. So it's loaded with black powder, which burns at a significantly different rate than, say, the powder that would be in a 340 Weatherby Magnum. If I was to mix those powders up, that could be catastrophic. That could cause basically a failure of the firearm, a failure of the case. So that's where we really want to make sure that we're doing everything by the book. And, you know, YouTube is a great resource for all this sort of stuff. There's so much content out there about how to actually reload and what safe practices are. And, you know, I'll leave those resources out there. You guys can obviously go and look them up. But just make sure you're going to, you know, someone that's got, you know, a little bit of a history, not, you know, look, I've only got a couple of hundred subscribers, right? And I will walk you through some of the basics, but I'm not going to be putting load data or anything like that out there because, you know, I wouldn't want somebody to go and take my load data and put it in a gun that can't handle it and then have an accident. And some of these cartridges, just because they're similar, doesn't mean the load data applies either. So I've got a 340 Weatherby here, but that doesn't mean that you can use the same load in this as you can in a 338 Win Mag, right? So it's one of those things where do your due diligence, and go have fun. I would also say it's a really satisfying hobby, right? So actually coming in with nothing and then making something is immensely satisfying, especially if it shoots well and you go and harvest an animal with it, and you've done a good job and you made an ethical shot and it's performed how you want it to. There's no better feeling. So signing off, try getting out there, break into it, go buy a cheap kit. Look, I like Hornady stuff. I know other people, use the Lee stuff because it's cheap to get into. I've used it. I've never had a problem with it. There's the RCBS. There's a bunch of great brands out there. Go with any of the majors. You're generally not going to have any problems. And if you do, speak to your local gun shops. They'll probably be able to give you an idea of what's in your price range and sort of walk you through what's open to you and sort of how to get started and everything you need as well. All right, guys, have a good one.